Well, if you don't get to see my bright and bubbly face, that's because I don't know how to get these videos to merge. But we're back on the 1970 C20, and I'm gonna go over everything that's wrong with this truck, everything that I've ran into, and go through everything that I failed to do in the last video. This is the 1970 C20. It's got a small block Chevy 350, TH350 hydromatic transmission, 3-speed. This was a factory AC truck. You can see that all the hardware that comes with an AC includes the coil in the front, the dryer, whatever you want to call them. But everything I've done this truck so far, other than I put a battery in it, I've had to replace as you know, I've had to replace the brake. Come to find out, since I've been driving around and hot rodding a little bit, and getting the bugs knocked out of it, I've blown the wheel cylinders out of it, especially on you can see right here on this passenger front, and then both the rears are shot. I know at least that one in the passenger rear, or no, it's actually the driver rear. That one's really bad. A great example, if you didn't already know, from spongy pedals to loss of fluid. I mean, if you open this up and you see these right here standing fully erected, that means that it's being pulled out, and you can see how it's low. Normally you wouldn't have these normally sitting up here, but as you stand, it's low. I've actually just got today, they came in, the wheel cylinders, which was a pain in the butt to locate the source. From I think it's a 13-inch drum brakes to 11.5 or right at 11-inch drums. I don't know, I just ordered them and had to come in. They're a special order, AC Delco. One of the things is the parking brake on this thing is frozen solid up there inside the cab, but it's rusted off and no longer in service. Since I got here, this was disconnected. You can see I just butt connected this. This truck does need a complete new wiring. However, this past week I've been just cobbling and fixing wires from mouse damage and just spirited previous owner, which included the horn in the steering wheel is actually it's shorted out or grounded out to where it's just constantly on, so it's disconnected off to the relay. See if I can get a bigger, wider stance of this. As I spoke about in the last video, it was these rims are off of like a van. They're a 3/4 ton van. I don't know what years. I know that the newer trucks, 8-lug trucks, I was told that they don't fit. So I mean, if you're looking for something, if you got to find something, I think these are off a 2005 van. A lot of body work that needs to be done. And you see this is pretty bad with the rust. I need to replace these door handles. What happens on these types of handles is that sits in these little things here, sit in a cup, and on the back of that cup it's got little tangs that hold that there. Well, if it's locked or something, someone goes to pushing and jamming on it, it'll bust through those tangs, and then you have to replace these. I'm gonna see if I could take these off. I started doing it on the other side. I'm gonna see if I can take it off and maybe cobble it up to where it could just fix it where it does. But right now, it's not gonna be nothing to replace the handles themselves. This truck at one time had dual saddle tanks. So these trucks have the tank that sits behind the seat, the main cab seat, and then it had cabs. This is not from me, this is from previous owners. I suspect this is a one-owner truck. I don't know. The guy I got it from was not the guy he got it from, who ended up getting it from another dude that was in Kansas. But you can see there's some shoddy work. They just, basically brazened or tack welded this on there, and then they just do a bunch of body filler and then painted it or whatever. Eventually I'm gonna get in here and just knock this crap out, maybe even cut this out, and then kind of I forget what it's called, like seam, just dig, overlapping butt joint, welds on there, and clean that up, and then kind of get it as smooth as possible. But I'm not gonna really worry about it too much, because I do like the patina style look. I'm not worrying about making a SEMA quality build here to where it's gonna be nice and beautiful. You can see this thing is just pochmarked all to hell with the rust. As I said in the other video, this wasn't on there. It wasn't, the guy he got it from, but he had taken it off. But clearly this the bed itself is just, it's bowing out, coming out. You can see here, you know, that's the plate that was on there, 2002, and some Kansas. A couple days ago, I just had to go and rewire new wires from the firewall that comes all the way back here, so I can have tail lights, turn signals. But right now the reverse lights, I suspect that switch is at the bottom of the column is bad, or maybe there's no power going to it. I haven't really you know, sourced that out to find out what exactly the issue with that. Also, the license plate light is not working. I think the bulb's blown, even though the wire is there. And then moving along, you can see some more work. I did get all the side markers around this truck working as well, and replaced the bulbs. Then I started yesterday. I actually got in here and started, took this off because the window doesn't go down very well. Luckily that side goes down pretty smooth. This side I sprayed some penetrating oil in there to help see if maybe it's just rusty and seal it up. But this truck is in a lot of metal work. You can see right here. Also this wire here, which is like a brownish tan color. This wire here. So if you're looking at these three sets of wires here, these two sets here, which goes up into that's going to your dome light that sits up in there. I got to rerun that wire, and then this single one here, this is the actual the wire that goes to your fuel level sending unit or fuel level gauge, which is here. Right now the gauge does work, but it's not registering because come to find out, when I pulled the sending unit out of there, it's missing the little brass float, and that float, you know, if it ain't on there, it ain't gonna lift that rod up there. But I did move that rod, and it did correspond on the dash. Luckily, one of the things I did, let me get in here. One of the cool things that did work in this, the oil pressure sending unit does work, or oil pressure sending gauge works. The temperature gauge works, but I ended up taking it off because I don't like that it has a high-low kind of range. I want to know exactly what the temperature is with this small block Chevy. And I just got these cheap little triple gauge from Amazon. I think they were like 26 bucks. Really, I just wanted it for this, but it comes with these two here. I'm not going to really, you know, put much emphasis in thinking these are anything good, but it did sit around about 180, maybe 190 in between this zone here. If it's sitting there idling or just driving and then it's sitting in dead stop, it was sitting about right here. Normally it's a 180. I did replace the thermostat. It has a 180 thermostat in there. The speedometer was working as well. And then, as you know, the dash needs to be replaced. There's still a lot of, you know, little surface rust and little minor repairs that need to be done. My thought process in all this is just taking a piece of little, you know, sheet metal or something and cutting that strip out here, and then you just tack weld it in there and clean it up, make it nice and smooth. And like I said, you know, this ain't gonna be SEMA quality, but just get to where it's going on the road, it can ride. Yesterday I took all this nonsense that was in here. I don't know what you would call it, but internally here you can see all the trash that was in there with the heater core or the evaporator in there. But I knocked out all that stuff out because it was like really huge, big area right here. So I can get that out, because you can get those vintage airs, those aftermarkets, and literally would just sit right in here, or I can pull that out there and have the unit sitting in here. And there's quite a bit of room here. I would like to get to like something right here, okay, but there's still quite a bit of room right here, and ain't hardly anybody gonna be sitting in the middle here, but you know, get some AC. It's Texas, it gets hot. And so, you know, it's nice to have some AC. Right now, there ain't no AC, ain't no heat. Heat's coming from the floorboards if it's driving down the road. That's about it. The seat, I did put those little Mexican blanket style looking seats on there, or seat covers to help it. This, like I said, this was a farm truck. It sat in the field who knows how long, and it smelled like rat and mouse piss and shit. And I've been sitting here shooting all kinds of stuff to try to get the smell out of here. I even got those little California scent blocks in here to help regulate a little bit. But this seat, you know, I sprayed the seat, I pressure washed it, took it out. One of the things about this is that there's some major rust damage. We can see right here. So the whole rear cab floor section on both sides are shot. Here you can see this is that wire that's spliced in there for the sending unit. But right now this is not fully bolted down. These are a pain in the ass to get to, especially on that side. Right now I'm just using it just temporary, but eventually I'll find some better feeling seat. But it works for right now. Since the last video, I have put about 5 gallons of fuel in there. I did deplete that mixture of bad and good gas that was in there, and it's nothing but good gas, and it's still running strong. Let's go ahead and crank this up for you, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, right up. And that was a cold start. I didn't. She runs really good. Originally, when I put that HEI distributor, so you can see the oil pressure gauge is responding. Another telltale sign is if your sending unit is the wire's bad or something. The needle here was sitting way down over here, somewhere around this area here. Once I connected that wire, got it connected, and it's reading some resistance. As you see, it's showing empty. Now it's showing, and as I was manipulating it, it was sweeping through this area. In fact, when I brought it all the way up to its full potential, that thing was sitting like right over here, well past full. So I don't know what's the deal with that. It's supposed to be 0 to 90 ohms. Back to the motor. Since that last video, I've replaced the belts on that for both the power steering belt. Power steering pump works great. I put some power steering fluid in there, and she works great. I did kind of overfill it and kind of got, you know, a little bit of power steering fluid sprayed everywhere. But I replaced the belt. The alternator is working right now. Fingers crossed it stays working for right now. I spent a little bit more than what I went into initially. But I just went on Amazon, got this cheap, like Amazon Chinesium HEI distributor, got it connected. A good rule of thumb is, like, let's say that, you know, once you got it up to top dead center, your pointer is going to be sitting roughly about right here, where your number 1 is. In the instructions, it was saying that this was number 1, and I initially had that as this was, you know, the 1, 8, and going around. And however, you know, it drove, but you had to like slowly get it on the gas for it to even move, and it was just popping and backfiring and carrying on. And I finally came out here and realized that even when I put the timeline on there, it was retarded, because here's you see, barely see that white mark, but the white mark, I mean, it was sitting at idle, roughly about, let's say 900 RPMs. It's sitting down here fully retarded. And then that's when I realized, okay, let's try something else. So what I ended up doing is just, oh yeah, and then the vacuum advance was hitting the bump right here, and that was full retarded. The motor was in retarded mode, and I was like, okay, this is not cool. Something's wrong. So I ended up, you know, readjusting it. I was going to take the distributor out and restab it, but I was like, no, let's try a different way. It was actually my father who came up with the idea, and I should have thought of it. And he said, hey, just relocate the wires. So that's what I did. I ultimately ended up taking this from 1 to this being 1. Which allowed me to have plenty of room for the adjustment on that. Once I did that, this thing woke up like you wouldn't believe. And then, of course, you know, you got your ported vacuum. This went to down there to the vacuum modulator on the transmission. And it does have the ram horn style. I don't know what the big fuss is about these damn things, but they're cast iron and heavy, and I had to fix the exhaust. So pertaining to the motor, I rebuilt the carburetor. It was a Walker product line rebuild kit. Easy, simple enough. Made sure it was cleaned out. Main thing was the auxiliary pump was bad. These quarter jets are pretty stout and can take a beating. But I'm still on the fence as far as whether it's worth it or not. But hey, it's running good. So anyways, with that, I got the HEI distributor came with these wires, and then there's a yellow wire that comes out of here. You got, depending on your, you know, how yours is set up, you may have a yellow wire, one single wire that goes from here to your coil, and one single wire that goes down to the starter. Because the starter will normally have 3 connections. You have your main lug connection, One lug connection is for your signal wire, to which is telling, hey, go ahead and the solenoid to turn, and the other side is your to where it sends a constant 12-volt feed, so that way if there's a draw on the current, it's still going to give your coils a full 12-volt turn. So all I ended up doing was just taking that wire, rerouting it back up here, splicing them together, and then this is the wire that's feeding into the HEI distributor. And then if you have RPM or attack gauge, this is the wire for that. However, I don't. So I just put a butt connector, knocked it out. I was just leaving it open, but then I don't want this like touching metal and stuff. And then, because if this thing touches, if you have any issues with it, you know, if you don't have attack and you just put one in there and it keeps shutting off randomly or something, you should look into this, because this right here is, if this touches or ground this out, it'll ground out this whole assembly here, and then it'll kill the motor. All right, moving forward. Eventually, I'm gonna get all this removed, because I'll probably just go to Vintage Air once I do like an LS swap. Right now, I just want to get it up on the road and driving. I also have resealed the water pump, put a new thermostat in there, and that's basically about it. And then I just replaced a cable, and it's basically it from an interior. Oh, I did get, it was a 5-pack of that fiber electrical tape. This stuff is like the bee's knees, if you ask me. This stuff is great stuff. I just reran all that wire. Same way here, as I was making those connections or changing those, correcting those connections and getting the wiring and stuff, I just reran all that and made it to where it looks, you know, cleaned it up. Okay, let's get underneath. We'll go underneath the truck now, and I'll show you the various things that I've got to deal with. Alrighty. Oh yeah, and this thing comes with the rust packs edition. I'm not sure if these are actual tray bombers or thrust or what have you, but it's got these dual, you know, the rust packs on there. It is kind of loud. It's kind of annoying. I don't like the sound of these things make anyways. But other than that, I did have to replace the starter on this thing. You can see there's a new brake hoses. I did both driver's side, passenger side, and the one single one that's on the rear of over the axle. You can see I had to run with new wires. New brake lines. These are nickel copper alloy brake lines, and then I had to get a few unions on there. This one I had the most problems with, because I'd make a connection, it'd break. I'd make a connection, it'd break. And I just kept falling on there. And come to find out, it was just that all this area here, just where all the stuff, sediment and stuff sits up in there. It wasn't until you get towards, I got towards the middle, that I was able to find some good, really healthy metal that I could tap into. But that was all for now. I should have went ahead and replaced the wheel cylinders when I was doing it, but I was trying to avoid that. I just wanted to see if I can get it to stop. But as you can see, it's bad. It's got no brakes now. I mean, it's very minimal brakes. I took it for a spin yesterday and with my son, and we almost didn't want to stop. That side was the winner. Like, when it stops, it's all off of that one single side there. Then, moving on, you can see the cab support. I mean, it's just rusted out. Body support, or cab mount here, is rusted out. There's a lot of work that has to be done. And here we see, this is the rear of the cab. Goes right up in there. Again, cab support needs to be replaced. So there's a lot of under structural damage or work that needs to be done to bring this to where, you know, you can confidently and safely drive this thing to where it's not really a death strap coming through. Okay, moving on to that. And then you can see, well, I guess both sides are bad. So you can see where the brake boost, the master cylinders are no longer working or blown. This is going to be a pain. Hopefully I can get these off. I'm gonna have to clean them up, shoot some coil on there or something, maybe heat it up, and hopefully I can get those to break loose without breaking or twisting this line. But if it does, I mean, this is easy. Like, one straight long parse, and it's good to go. Like, I mean, you ain't got to really worry about it too much, and you're good to go. This is gonna be easy versus that front end, where especially when it comes up into the front of the up over the thing and gets up into the portion valve or the distribution block. Oh, that's just a nonsense. It's just going to really get bad. I believe these rear ends either have 455, 410s, or 373. I think more than likely it's a 410 rear or gear ratio. I don't know. I have not went over there and checked the castings. I do know this is a Eaton rear end. Simply because it's a, and also this is a coil, not a leaf spring. Would have been really cool if it was a leaf spring, because, well, then I can get a square body Chevy and really go to town, square body rear end, and put on here, and get away with this 8 lug, because I do like those rally Chevy rally rims. And you see some of the electrical work I had to do. That was just some wire connections. The previous owner, whoever, they had made a trailer connection, and then they did those little wire splices on there, and it ended up breaking those wires. So I cleaned those wires, put them back in there, and that right there is the plug that separates it. So if you're ever going to lift the bed off of this body, well, actually that wouldn't make no sense, because, oh yeah, it would. Okay, because yeah, the wire runs through the frame of the truck, and then that's the point where you would, where's that? That's the point where you would you disconnect it, so the whole bed will come off of here. This bed is seen better days, as you can tell. It's pretty, but it's still solid enough to where I can work with it for the time being. Other than that, I mean, it needs a good like sandblasting and recoating and undercoating on this thing. But we're in Texas now, so it's not like it's going to worry about any salt and any major rust issue damages coming from this environment. So here's the bed. You can see where this is starting to peel away from it, and that's what's creating the pull, which is causing the issue with here. I go right now, I'll probably get some like an angle iron or something, either for the bottom here to run. And let's see if I get it better. And run across to here, a flat stock piece, something that's got an angle, and then put a piece right here, and either have it like a low angled, like what they call those, basically a little angle block here, so we can keep this straight. There's part of that stuff that came underneath the dash inside the cab. I mean, it's just nasty and filthy. These are really, I mean, they just even get it better. Let's see, I mean, it doesn't really do anything. They're just, a lot of the things are, oh wow, I've seen that. I don't know anything about this. I'm not really worried about it too much. And that's basically about it. And then just clean it up and just work from there. Alright, well, please like this video, subscribe if you want to see more content. There's a bunch of videos on there. If you have any questions, concerns, or ideas, or any parts that may fit this truck, please hit me up. And thank you for watching.